What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Not much has changed, as you guys can see in the background from the last video. Basically, we got done pulling the engine here, and then like a day and a half later, I had to leave and go to Alaska, and I've been gone for 7 days. And then I got back a few days ago, and that's like the one place that I've traveled to. Out of all the places I've ever traveled to, Alaska is the only place I feel like I get jet lagged from. I don't know what it is. I got back and I was just tired, exhausted for like 3-4 days. But now my energy levels feel like they're getting kind of back to normal, so time to keep cranking away on the vet. Update on the countdown clock. We have 89 days, 16 hours, 27 minutes and 29 seconds until this thing needs to be on the road to Oregon. Update on the rally. This is a big one, guys. So as of the last video you guys saw, I think I remember telling you guys that they had closed the application process, and we were just all waiting to hear whether we were going to be accepted or not. They sent out the first wave of acceptance letters, and I was included, which I was so stoked. That made my whole ass day. Like I said, they got like over 1,000 applications. I don't know how many applications they accepted, but I'm going to guess it was maybe a little over 100, like 110, 115 maybe. So it feels really good to be accepted. But now it's kind of like crushing anxiety where it's like, all right, you were accepted, so you really do have 89 days until this thing needs to be done. And if you guys weren't here for last video, we pulled the drivetrain out, engine and transmission at least, and it's sitting over here. So we got a lot to do still. I was telling my mom about what all the progress I was doing on the Corvette, and I showed her a picture with the engine bay with no engine in it, and we got more to talking about the vet, and she said... This is funny. She said the radio, to her knowledge, has never worked in the car. Her and my dad started dating in 1968, 69, something like that. It was like right after he had gotten the vet, I think. And to her knowledge, the radio has never worked. So not only has it never worked for me, it's never worked for my dad or mom or anybody either. So the stock radio has never worked. However, she said back here, there was like an 8-track thing back here, and then there was a speaker somewhere. She said that's how they listen to music. But yeah, this radio has literally never worked. But I did order a brand new radio for it just a couple days ago. It should get here tomorrow or the next day, something like that. My mom also informed me that the fuel gauge has never really worked. I can't remember if she said the clock had worked before, but yeah, it's kind of like cool little nugget history things you get when you take apart a car. You see certain things, you ask questions. I'm probably going to call my uncle at some point and ask him more questions about the car. He helped my dad kind of put it together, and I think he knows some of what's done to it. I'm not sure, but I got to call him and find out. Another thing my mom said is I mentioned that the odometer doesn't work and the trip meter doesn't work. She's like, oh, those have never worked. I was like, okay, so this is a 64. So if my mom is remembering correctly, that means in 1968 when he got the car, it only had 11,648 miles in the 4 years that it was on the road from new. And the odometer has been frozen ever since. I'd kind of like to get that thing working again. I don't know what all's wrong with it, or if it's just not hooked up, or what the situation is, but I'd kind of like to get that thing going again so I can see how many miles I'm putting on this thing. Today, it's going to be not so exciting of a video. We're not pulling engines. We're not doing anything crazy like that. We're going to be doing a lot of the not so exciting stuff that you do when you're doing a project like this. Such as going through all the old parts, seeing if I want to keep anything I don't want to keep, but I don't want to throw away. I need to get a tote for it so I can store them somewhere later. Pick up, in general, just random bolts and stuff, and see if I can remember where they went and label them. Near the end of pulling the engine, we just kind of went at it, so got to figure that out. Radiator and exhaust pipes, those can be tossed. Water pump, that can be tossed. I need to disconnect the exhaust in the back. Basically, it's just from the mufflers, I think. Yeah, basically just, it was cut right before the mufflers back. So I just got to pull the mufflers out. It's not that big a deal, but I want to get that out the way. That'll make it a lot easier to pull the gas tank, which I'm not sure if I'm going to pull the gas tank today, but I'm going to pull it here soon. That's probably one of the next bigger steps I'm going to be doing. Also, the fan shroud, I had something I want to do with this. So it's got little surface rust here and there. It's nothing's cancerous or anything. It's still relatively straight and all that stuff. But I want to get it cleaned up, and I'm going to get it powder coated. So I'm going to take this to the powder coater today, drop it off just so it's ready to go for reassembly whenever that happens in the next couple months. The wiring and the engine bay, this can all be pulled at this point. There's no need for it to be there. Well, the wiring in the whole car can be pulled at this point, but I just want to start with the engine bay, get it cleaned up a good bit. Now, the other day I did take some like degreaser and kind of scrub this very quickly with like a old toothbrush, caked in grease and grime, and it's relatively clean now. Well, I say that, it's actually still pretty dirty, so I still need to scrub that pretty good, scrub all the other stuff pretty good. I want to get all this grease and grime that's been on there for 60 years off. And then after we're all clean and everything, I don't know if it's going to happen today, probably not, but at some point, paint everything under the hood, the whole engine bay, the cross members, everything like that. Paint them black just to freshen them up. But this is just the stuff that you need to do to continue the project going. Depending on your timeline, as long as you put in consistent time into your project, it'll get done. It will get done. You just got to keep plugging away, keep plugging away, keep plugging away. And that's what I'm doing here. None of this stuff today is like, I don't even know what I'm going to title the video, because like I said, none of it's exciting, but it's all that stuff that needs to be done in preparation to get this car back on the road. Now, I have 89 days, as you guys saw, left till this car needs to be on the road to Oregon, but I'd really like to have it like drivable with 30 days left, so I can actually run it through its paces, find anything that's wrong with it. If it's blowing relays or fuses for some reason, it's making sure the fan kicks on when it's supposed to. There's just a lot of stuff. I just want some street miles on the car, because the idea is to drive it 1,500 miles to Oregon, complete the entire rally, no idea how many miles that's going to be, and then drive it 1,500 miles home. So the car needs some miles on it to make me just feel better about taking it that far. I know everything in the car, basically drivetrain wise and electrical and all that stuff, will be brand new. That doesn't mean it's not going to give me issues. That doesn't mean that at all. There's some things that just might give me headaches for whatever reason. So definitely want some time to get some street miles on this thing and get it thoroughly figured out before we get on the road. Also, fun fact, I did not realize this about project cars before. Every time I look at this thing for more than 5 minutes, it costs me at least $250. The other day I looked at it for 20 minutes and it cost me $1,800. It's stuff that I needed to get for the car, but stuff I didn't think about until the car's apart and I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, I should probably replace that, or oh, that seal's been there for 60 years. I should get rid of that. For example, this is the engine bay. Over here, these little guys hanging out right here, this is my heater core for my heater. And one of the things on the list is to make sure the heater works, so I have defrost and everything, because it's be October in Oregon, which I'm imagining will be a little brisk some mornings. So I'd like defrost and heat to the floor and all that good stuff. Part of that is that I didn't think about before is the heater core. Heater core has probably been in there, 60 years, and there's no telling if it's still good, how long it's going to be good, or anything like that. And I looked through like the removal process of it, and it really doesn't look that difficult. But this is one of those things where I'm looking through the engine bay the other day for 10-15 minutes, and I'm like, heater core, I should probably replace that. And then when I'm doing that, I got to take this cover off, so I got a new seal for the cover. And then there's these two heater core straps that hold the heater core in. And I was like, well, I should probably get those, because those are probably 60 years old. I should probably get new ones of those. And that just kept going, like all the way through the engine bay, just looking at stuff, trying to decide, oh, I should probably get that. That should be new. This should be new. I should replace that while I'm in here. Now, I was prepared to do that because I knew that was going to happen. You look at the engine bay, you're going through stuff, you're like, well, that's not exactly right, or that's probably old as hell. I should probably replace that. I knew that was going to happen. However, I did not know it was going to happen so frequently. We're going to keep trucking. We're going to keep doing stuff. I don't have that much spending left to do, but I'm already over budget, and I still have a good bit left to spend. I just said it wasn't that much, but it is kind of a lot. But we're going to keep plugging away, because I'm not going to just not work on the car and not get it ready for the rally. I'll just eat ramen for the next few months, and we'll be great. We'll be good to go. First things first, we're going to run our errands, which is take this, drop that off at Powder Coat. Then we also need to go to probably Lowe's or Home Depot or something like that, get some brushes so we can scrub some degreaser and clean up all the dirt, grime off of all this stuff. Like, just look at the grime over here. Look how thick this is. Also, this brake line is the only brake line in the entire car I did not replace when I did the lines like 15 years ago. And while I'm in here, there's no engine here, I might as well replace it. Might not do that today, but that's definitely on the list for things to do before an engine gets back in here. So let's go run some errands. Awesome. Hell yeah. Thank you. Yep. No, that's it. All right, big update for the Corvette driveline parts. I just got a call from Zip Corvette. They're the ones that were putting together my rear differential for me, and they said it's getting wrapped up today and shipped out. So I should have it hopefully this week, maybe next week. It's just one of those pieces I've been waiting on for a couple months, and it's kind of nice to just to know it's on the way. I'm still waiting on a couple transmission bits, but this is like a big thing to check off the list that I've been looking forward to. So hopefully that gets here later this week. All right, Chris. We'll see ya. Well, Chris at New Wave Powder Coat is going to go ahead and take care of that. Another thing I don't think I mentioned before, the headers, full exhaust that I got for the car, all the side pipes and everything, so they're painted black from the factory, but they tell you that that paint is just a protectant for shipping. It's not going to last. It will immediately flake off as soon as the thing gets hot. So I need to get those coated as well, but I want to get those ceramic coated instead of powder coated. And Chris doesn't do that, so I need to find another place in town. I'm sure there is one. I just need to find one that does ceramic coating. Also need to figure out if I want to keep the side pipes matte black like they are, or if I want to go with a different color. I'm not really sure. I have a couple ideas in mind that could look cool, but the black looks good too. Let me know what you guys think. What color should the side pipes and headers be? Put it in the comments below, because I'd like some suggestions here. We're gonna go get brushes and a tote. Exciting stuff. Now it's time to head home and actually start doing stuff to the Corvette. Guys, it is hot in the garage. It is damn near 100. These look like they're for scrubbing dishes, but these feel pretty strong, so I think they'll do all right with cleaning up the dirt and grime in the engine bay. Now we got to figure out how much of these parts we're keeping, and if we're keeping them, they got to go in here. I don't know how you guys do it, but this is how I do it. For all the bins, the yellow bins you see, they're for a specific car, so this one's going to be for the Corvette, and then I'm just going to write under it all the things that I put in it, so I don't have to go through it later. If I'm looking for something like the distributor, it'll just be distributors. Oh, I know it's in this one. So I try to make it easier on future Freds sometimes. Not all the time, but in this case, I will. Speaking of distributor, fan. I think we're going to go ahead and run the valve covers with the windows in them on the Blueprint engine once they get in the car, so I'm going to leave these out. So here's what we got. We got the distributor, water pump, fan, fuel pump, the carburetor, spark plug wires, ignition coil, and alternator bracket. We've even got room to spare in case I find anything else I need to throw in here. Now we're going to go ahead and at least move the wires in the engine bay out the way so we can clean it up a little bit. Right now they're still hanging out where they are, and they're going to be removed eventually. I can at least move them out the way. Where were these going? Why was that attached to that? Boom. Boom, clear. This can stay here. This is the radiator, the reservoir hose. God, these electrical systems are so simple on these cars. Like, really, there really isn't much to them. Disconnect those, and then the rest of the wires on the whole passenger side are just chilling. It took like no time. This thing's so easy. And then it goes back there, and you guys probably can't see it. There's a main plug down here for the harness that hooks up to the fuse block on the other side. I didn't even realize I was pulling it that hard, but I just disconnected that whole plug for this side of the harness. So that's it. That's all of them right there. This side of the harness is pretty simple. It goes to very few things. It has its own plug right here. Again, you probably can't see it because it's too dark. But it comes up here, runs along here, as you can see, it comes down here. And then this just runs up to the headlights. So it's a pretty simple harness. This one is what went to all like the alternator, the battery. This had all of the sensors. Well, all of it has one sensor, one sensor wire for the temperature gauge. I'm gonna go ahead and crawl out so I can disconnect this thing. And there we go. That is 60-year-old, never gonna be in the car again. Gross wiring harness. Goodbye. Well, it's the next day, and we're just gonna dive right into cleaning up the engine bay a little more, which is actually where I'm standing right now, in the engine bay. So pretty much everything's just dirty in general, and everything could use cleaning, whether it be the inner fenders or any brace or cross member. Everything needs cleaning. This is our 1320 Street Shine HD degreaser. You dilute it like 10 to 1. I think this is probably like more like 5 to 1, but and then I'm gonna scrub it off with these handy Scotch-Brite brushes that I got yesterday. We're just gonna dive right into it, start cleaning stuff. Probably use a screwdriver on some of this, to be honest. This stuff is thick over here. It's caked on. Maybe I should do a scrape session before I do a brush session, because the brushes are already pretty dirty. I'm just getting all this dirt and grime. Basically, I want everything clean enough that paint will stick to it. So, if that's what we're going for, I got a lot of work to do. We'll get it though. We'll get there. You know, to do this like quicker, I need like a razor blade scraper deal, but I don't have that, so I'm just working with what I got. I could at least use like a bigger screwdriver or something, I guess. All right, we're making progress on getting the engine bay clean, but this takes a lot of elbow grease, and it's not very exciting, so I'm probably just gonna show a couple clips of it, but this is what I got so far. It's not much, but it's something. So this is the passenger side motor mount. You can tell how greasy and dirty it is. This is the driver's side one. I just cleaned it up real good. It took forever. Degreaser, some carb spray, to be honest, to get it that clean. And then the front cross member, it's pretty much down the middle everywhere. Got most of the grease and grime off. It just doesn't look as nice as that for some reason. That one's probably caked on grease and grime way longer, so preserved way better. So that motor mount is gonna look like this motor mount when everything's done. And hopefully everything else looks just as good as that motor mount. But there's just grease caked on everything. The firewall's caked. That cross member down there, I don't know if you can see, but just caked in grease and grime. Clean up all the inside of the wheel wells and everything back there. Probably gonna take that stuff apart because that stuff's got to come out for the heater core and the blower motor and all that stuff, and redo that seal. It's coming along, guys. I will touch back when I have a little more progress here. All right, so I just got back from O'Reilly's, and I got like a whole 12-pack here brake clean because it seems to help a lot. Also, I got one of those scraper tools, but what I want to show you guys is something kind kind of neat, wild, weird, I guess. So brand new can, brake clean with a little straw on it. I started cleaning up this side of the engine bay, and as you can see, I thought it was just taking dirt off. I don't know if it's taking dirt off or it's taking dirt and paint off or what, or maybe that's some sort of coating, but it's taking everything off, and there's like a orangish red paint underneath. Here, watch this. It's red here, but it's also red when you look under the carpets right there. So if I clean that off, that'd be the same shade of red. That might be like the, I don't know, like the delivery color, or like the, not delivery, like the, I need to look more into it. I'm gonna keep cleaning the bay, but it's wild that it's taken that much off though. So I went inside to go eat real quick, and that was gonna drive you crazy if I didn't know the answer for that. I guess I was actually spraying off the paint in the engine bay. Every picture I looked at, the engine bay on Corvettes are black, and they're painted black. What I'm guessing I'm looking at is this is how it came out of the mold, I guess. Like the fiberglass, and it's just this color. Same thing on the inside, which makes sense. They wouldn't spray the inside of the car or something like that. But they put carpet down, so it covered it up in there, and then engine bay paint went in here. So all this red that you're seeing is because I guess I removed the paint. It doesn't really bother me. I don't really care. I was gonna paint it anyway. So this, a level of cleaning I wasn't expecting to get to, which is take all of the paint off instead of just the dirt and grime and grease. Just take everything off and then paint it from there, which I guess is what I did. Which is fine. That just tells me it's getting really clean. But also, when I went inside, I noticed there was a bunch of packages on my front porch. So we're going to open them right now. I'm sure all of these are for the Corvette. I ordered a bunch of parts in the past few days for this thing, and a few of them came in today, so we're going to go over those. Again, this is one of those times where I ordered a bunch of stuff in the past few days, and I can't remember what all I ordered from where, so we're just going to like remind ourselves what we ordered. Blower motor resistor. The other thing in here has got to be the blower motor itself. Right there. This is my Z-bar adapter. This is from Skog & Dickey, I'm pretty sure. I'll show you what this is for. So on old school muscle cars like 60s, 70s GM cars, they used what is called a Z-bar to actuate the clutch and, you know, compress the spring on the clutch. And the Z-bar on a C2 Corvette, if you weren't here for the last video, goes on the frame. I think it's that tab right there. And then it also goes over to the block right here. So this is like the other side that the Z-bar hooks to, and it's a threaded hole on the block. Now that's for like 60s GM blocks. You get like a newer small block like what I have that Blueprint made. They don't have that hole for that dowel to go into the block to screw in. So you got to get an adapter. So that's what this is right here. So right here on the block is where it screws in and everything. But on the new block, like I said, this doesn't exist at all. So there's nothing to thread into. So you got to get this adapter. And if I remember right, it's supposed to sandwich right there. Yeah, perfect actually. Yeah, so you take these two bolts out, you put it right there, and then it aligns that dowel right where it needs to be. I was actually curious because when I was taking it apart, I forgot all about the Z-bar situation. I knew it was there, but I forgot that it was going to be a situation where the new block isn't going to accept it. I just Googled it, and Skog & Dickey make exactly what I needed, and they got it to me in like 2 days, which is awesome. All right. Oh, speaking of the Z-bar, I bought a brand new one. So this is the old Z-bar. There's nothing really wrong with it, but a couple of these ends, these ball joint ends right here were pretty loose, and I figured if they make new ones and they're not that expensive, might as well. So brand new Z-bar, and then all the brand new hardware it would take to rebuild the Z-bar. All this stuff's gonna go on there, and a spring for the Z-bar as well. So these are seals for the airbox and the heater core, I'm pretty sure. Yep, there it is. So brand new heater core seals and heater core straps. So this right here is the heater controls on the dash actually, Fun fact, I've never used any of these, and my mom actually told me that nothing has ever worked in the car as far as she knows, so my dad had it since like 1968, 1969. I'd like to think that it was going to be a retirement project to make it nice, and he just never got to it. But it's kind of funny that none of these things work, and I didn't know how they worked, but I kind of do now. So what we got here is this on the inside of the dash, and is this guy right here. So this guy does a couple different things. So this will turn on the fans and power to the resistor and all that stuff. And then it also has a cable. I think you pull it to get more air to go through the heater core, so you get more hot air, and then you push it to leave it kind of normal. We'll figure it out once we actually like get the car together and running, but I think that's how that works. And then you turn it this way to like, I think there's like 3 fan speeds. That's what it feels like anyway, because it's just like off, I think, and then 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it feels like 3 clicks. Again, I've never used one of these before in my life. This is a cable that you can actually hear it down here working the flap. I don't know exactly what it's doing, but yeah. And then this one over here, I think it's good. Otherwise, I'd replace it. But this is another cable actuated one. There's no electronics on it like there is on this one. But this is another cable thing. So it looks like just pushed in all the way, you get air to your feet right there, and then pull it to get defrost, is what I think that all means. So this is just an example of one of those parts where it's like you're doing everything else while you're in there, you might as well replace this, because according to my mom, that's never worked at all, period. So if it hasn't even like been working in 60 years, I doubt putting power to it now is going to make it work. So I got shipping information for the radio today, which is nice. I also got shipping information for the rear differential, which is on the way. We almost have all the major pieces to the puzzle, as well as like a bunch of little minor pieces that I keep buying along the way. I was going to keep... Hi, Zoe. What you doing? Zoe. Are you bored? I'm sorry. Sorry, I left you out there bored. My bad. Anyway, so I was going to keep cleaning the engine bay, or like I said, taking paint off of the engine bay. But this is going to be a long, tedious process. So I'm probably just going to do this one in between videos, because I want to get some more stuff filmed before the end of the day. I'll come back to this, but like this is super, super clean now. There's like no paint on it or anything. Also, I'm pretty sure this isn't like an OEM thing. It doesn't look like it is or anything like that. Right here, this is like a piece of metal right here, like thin ass metal. It looks like it was coated with something, and it's just like this part of the fender liner down. Over here, there's like a cut right there, but it looks like that's how it was supposed to be right there. But this does not look factory, so I don't know what's going on there. Last thing I wanted to get done today on the car was remove the rest of the exhaust, which is really just the mufflers. But I wanted to get that done out of the way so I can move on with removing the fuel tank in the next video. All right, let's go in there and check things out. Also, guys, this creeper is the truth. This thing is so freaking nice. It glides so nicely on everything. What are we looking at here? Hey, so that's the gas tank right there. It goes from about right there to back there, and it's 18 gallons. Pretty big for a car, but it sucks it down pretty good too. I've actually never taken a look at this under here. So that's the fuel line right there. Goes along the frame, I think, all the way up to the front. Rear differential right there, it's kind of unique. So there's a frame rail right there. Here, I'll get the light out so I can point at this better. So there's frame rail right there. This is the back of the differential, and then this is the leaf spring in the back. So it's kind of a sandwich deal. So when I go to replace the rear differential once it gets here, it'll be kind of like taking apart the suspension at the same time. So yeah, this is the back kind of, I guess, cover for the rear differential, but it's also structural. It's real thick. I think it's cast iron, honestly. It's really freaking heavy. Okay, yeah, so sorry, exhaust. That's what we came down here for. Whoa, buddy. You ain't off yet. For real. Oh, geez, there he goes. There's something I need to show you guys. So here's the first muffler. This was, I don't know whose idea it was. Mine or my friends or both of our bad idea. I don't know. I think it was when I was 17 years old or so. I thought, I want to make the Corvette louder. So instead of just buying new mufflers for it or something like that, like the sensible thing to do, I was like, nah, I can just make it louder by doing this. I cut a square hole, a rectangular hole in the top of each muffler, cut everything out in there, and then we very, very poorly, as you can tell, welded it back up. And I can't believe these welds actually have held on for this long. It did sound good. It did make it sound better. There was several other exhaust leaks in other places. It didn't sound bad. But it's like the top of each muffler, so you'd never see it unless you like took it out. 17-year-old Fred did this. That's craftsmanship right there. So I was trying to take this bracket off here, and I noticed something. There's a whole other line back there. I have no idea what it's to. Maybe that's the original fuel line, and the one routed down here is one they routed afterwards? I don't know. What the hell? Why is that there? I don't know. This one looks like a aftermarket copper line too. I have to look into that. I wonder why there is... Oh! Hang on, we gotta take you guys to the engine bay so we can get to the bottom of this. There was a line that I was curious about when we were doing stuff. So this right here was the fuel line as far as I knew. Because this is the one that was being used. It has the line that went to the fuel pump on the side of the block. And then there's this one that's sitting here. I found it after we pulled the motor. It has like just a bolt to plug it, and it runs all the way back. And I had no idea what the hell that thing did. What I do know is, I don't know if you can tell. Let me see if the light will help. But that line is hella pinched right there. Maybe the line got messed up and they just ran a whole new one. I don't know, but they didn't take out the old one, which is weird. The more I take this car apart, the more I kind of see like there's a story here. It's just like uncovering weird modifications or shortcuts, or I don't know if all of it's like bad or good or indifferent. This is how they just did stuff. I have no idea. Let's get this second muffler out so we can call it a day. Gosh, this one was barely hanging on. Barely hanging on. There you go. Alright, no exhaust up there anymore. Looks nice and clean. Get a clear path to the gas tank. That's what we were looking for. Well guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Like I said, not too exciting of a video, just getting some grunt work done on the project here. But I wanted to record it so I'd show some progress, and also so I'd have a video I could go look back later and see all the dumb stuff that I did. So thank you guys very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell so you get a notification every time I drop a new video. And I'll see you guys in the next one when I'm probably doing wiring and the gas tank or both, or any number of projects that need to be done. The projects are stacking up and I keep having to buy more and more parts. But hopefully in the next 88 days, 9 hours, 58 minutes, and 8 seconds, I can get it all done and we can get this thing on the road. So here's to that, and I'll see you guys next video. Later.